Αγαπητοί, αξιότιμοι προσκεκλημένοι, φίλοι συνεργάτες, καλημέρα και καλώς ήρθατε στο New Tech Forum 2026. Dear esteemed guests, friends and colleagues, good morning and welcome to the New Tech Forum 2026. I'm Viva Pradodourou and the Managing Director of PNET. So it is a great pleasure to see so many of you here today, and thank you very much for joining us. It is your presence here and your participation that will make this event a meaningful one, and we hope and we are confident that the speakers and the discussions will offer you valuable incentives, perspectives, and new ideas and inspirations. So I believe that by now you all know PNET, but let me share a couple of words about it. We are a competence center located in Patras. Our operation started in 2022 and focusing mainly on emerging smart networks and services and their applications across various sectors. We perform research, testing, validations, and the main aspect of our mission is to transfer innovation and build capacity, both for the business and the civic worlds, so that we can accelerate the adoption of digital technologies. So the New Tech Forum 2026 is a natural extension of this mission. And, okay, so I believe, okay. As we witness now the rapid evolution of digital technologies and the impact that they are having, the transformative impact that they are having across industries and societies, we felt this need to create this platform, this forum that will bring people together to explore together technological advancements, share technologies, share knowledge, share experiences, create awareness, and actually encourage collaboration. So the New Tech Forum and today is a big milestone for us, as the New Tech Forum 2026 is the first one of a series of events that we are planning to organize and hold on an annual basis. Okay, the forum will continue each year under the same name, but the thematic focus will be different in each year, and it will always center around innovative technologies and their real-world applications. Now, regarding our program today, we have a rich and engaging agenda ahead of us. So I would kindly ask all speakers to keep within the allocated time so that we stay on schedule. Okay, so that we will stay on schedule. Lunch and coffee will be served, as you saw, outside, in the foyer outside, and we should make an effort also to keep their allocated time. And the event will conclude with a relaxing drink and some more opportunity for informal discussions. So at this point, I will invite the host for today, Mr. Dimitris Efremoglou, the Managing Director of the Foundation of the Hellenic World. Mr. Efremoglou, the floor is yours.
Well, welcome to the Foundation of the Hellenic World. Welcome to Hellenic Cosmos, our cultural center. It's an honor for us to be a part of this important tech forum, because at the Foundation we pride ourselves from being at the bridge between history and innovation. We have, since our first day, used technology to make the past accessible, and now it's also time to turn our focus towards the future. The convergence of intelligent networks and digital twins represents one of the most exciting frontiers in modern science. We are no longer just observing data, we are building living, breathing, virtual mirrors of our physical world. These technologies will be the backbone of the next industrial evolution, allowing us to simulate complex systems, predict challenges before they arise, and create more resilient, efficient infrastructure. Today's forum is a unique opportunity to expand beyond that data. It's about how we connect, predict, and optimize the world around us. I encourage you all to use this day to forge new partnerships and explore how these digital frameworks can solve real-world problems. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to the visionary ideas that will undoubtedly emerge from these sessions, and I wish you an inspiring and productive day. Thank you.
So we will now hear a video message from our Minister of Digital Governance and AI, Mr. Dimitris Papastergiou, who unfortunately could not be with us today. So please, can we have the video?
Καλησπέρα. Καλησπέρα σε όλες και σε όλους, έστω και μέσω από ένα βίντεο, από το οποίο θα προσπαθήσω να μεταφέρω και εγώ την άποψή μου για το πολύ ενδιαφέρον αντικείμενο θέμα του συνεδρίου σε σχέση με τα νέα ευφυή δίκτυα, τα ψηφιακά δίδυμα και όλη την τεχνολογία όπως εξελίσσεται παγκοσμίως στην Ευρώπη αλλά και στη χώρα μας. Καταρχάς, κάθε χρονιά, αν αναλογιστούμε τα θέματα των συνεδρίων, θα δούμε ότι αυτά αλλάζουν συνεχώς θέμα. Και γιατί αλλάζουν, γιατί η τεχνολογία ίδια πηγαίνει εξαιρετικά γρήγορα, με επιταχυντή, θεωρώ, σε πάρα πολύ μεγάλο βαθμό πλέον την τεχνητή νοημοσύνη. Ακόμα και αν δεν είναι ίδια η τεχνητή νοημοσύνη το αντικείμενο μιας ημερίδας ή ενός συνεδρίου, τελικά είναι η αφορμή και η αιτία για την οποία γνωρίζουμε καινούργια αντικείμενα ή βρίσκουμε καινούργιες τεχνολογίες οι οποίες βασίζονται πάνω σε αυτή. Για παράδειγμα, πριν από 3 χρόνια, πιθανώς να ξεκινούσαμε λίγο με τεχνητή νοημοσύνη και να μιλούσαμε περισσότερο, παραδείγματος χάρη, για κυβερνοασφάλεια. Σήμερα, με τα νέα δεδομένα, με τα δεδομένα στον κόλπο, με τα δεδομένα της ανάγκης για καινούργιες ασφαλείς υποδομές, θεωρώ πως θα μιλούσαμε περισσότερο για το τι είναι αυτό το οποίο έρχεται. Για παράδειγμα, η ανθρωπικά ανακοίνωση, όπως ξέρουμε, το νέο της μοντέλο, το οποίο αλλάζει θεωρητικά τελείως όλα όσα ξέρουμε στην κυβερνοασφάλεια, την ώρα που και γεωπολιτικά τα δεδομένα αλλάζουν με τις περιοχές μας και ειδικά την Ευρώπη να περιτριγυρίζεται από διάφορους πολέμους. Όλα λοιπόν αυτά τα καινούργια δεδομένα μας δημιουργούν την ανάγκη να μπορέσουμε να προετοιμαστούμε καλύτερα, να φτιάξουμε πιο ευφυή δίκτυα, να μπορέσουμε τα δίκτυα αυτά να τα κάνουμε ακόμα πιο ανθεκτικά, και εδώ πέρα δεν είναι μόνο αντικείμενο της NIS2 η δημιουργία ασφαλών δικτύων από πλευράς κυβερνοεπιθέσεων, αλλά σίγουρα πλέον πρέπει να βάλουμε στο τραπέζι και το κομμάτι των φυσικών κινδύνων και της φυσικής, αν θέλετε, ανθεκτικότητας των δικτύων μας σε μια εποχή που βλέπουμε ότι τελικά δεν αργεί, μια σπίθα πιθανώς είναι αρκετή για να ξεχάσουμε όσα ξέρουμε σε σχέση με τα δίκτυα, την ύπαρξή τους, τη λειτουργία τους, την ενέργειά τους και βέβαια το πώς θα μπορούσαμε τελικά όλες αυτές τις αλλαγές ή τους πειραματισμούς να μην τους κάνουμε σε ένα λειτουργούν σύστημα, αλλά να τις κάνουμε σε ένα ψηφιακό του δίδυμο. Για παράδειγμα, τι γίνεται με την κυβερνοασφάλεια και πώς θα μπορούσαμε να παίξουμε έτσι ώστε να δούμε αν τα δίκτυά μας τελικά είναι ευάλωτα, να προσπαθήσουμε σε ένα simulation να δώσουμε τη δυνατότητα σε ανθρώπους οι οποίοι ασχολούνται με το αντικείμενο να δουν αν τελικά αυτό το οποίο εμείς θεωρούμε ασφαλές είναι ή τελικά κάτι μας έχει ξεφύγει, και πάντα αυτό το κάτι υπάρχει και συνήθως το αντιλαμβανόμαστε με τον λανθασμένο τρόπο. Η Ελλάδα παρόλα αυτά είναι, θεωρώ, μέσα στις εξελίξεις και όχι απλά χρησιμοποιεί κομμάτι των εξελίξεων, αλλά σε κάποιο βαθμό παράγει εξελίξεις. Για παράδειγμα, το κομμάτι των υποδομών τεχνητής νοημοσύνης σε ευρωπαϊκό επίπεδο είχε μείνει πίσω. Η Ελλάδα με τα εργοστάσια τεχνητής νοημοσύνης αλλά και τα Gigafactories, η πρόταση η οποία ετοιμάζεται και μόλις από Ιούνιο λογικά η πρόσκληση είναι ανοιχτή, θα είμαστε εκεί. Η συνέχιση και η επιτυχημένη πορεία του προγράμματος των ελληνικών μικροδορυφόρων, την ώρα αυτή μετράμε πάνω από 17 μικρο και νάνο δορυφόρους, οι οποίοι μπορεί να μας δώσουν πολύ σημαντική πληροφορία για πολλά δεδομένα. Το κομμάτι πλέον της γεωστρατηγικής, αν θέλετε, τοποθέτησης ή εγκατάστασης κέντρων δεδομένων με τα γεγονότα του κόλπου να φέρνουν την κίνηση αυτή ή τις ασφαλείς υποδομές πιο κοντά σε ασφαλή ευρωπαϊκά εδάφη και όλα τα υποθαλάσσια καλώδια τα οποία περνάνε από την περιοχή μας και η ανάγκη που υπάρχει για να μείνουν αυτά τα υποθαλάσσια καλώδια, κυρίως τηλεπικοινωνιακά αλλά και ενεργειακά ασφαλή, δημιουργούν μια πολύ καινούρια, αλλά και πολύ ενδιαφέρουσα, θα σας έλεγα, κατάσταση, η οποία δεν πρέπει να μας αφήνει αδιάφορους. Θα ήθελα πολύ πραγματικά να ακούσω και να δω και άλλες οπτικές των πραγμάτων. Σήμερα είμαι στη Ρώμη και μάλιστα ένα από τα αντικείμενα τα οποία συζητάμε έχουν να κάνουν με την ασφάλεια της ευρύτερης περιοχής, έχουν να κάνουν με την ανάπτυξη των κέντρων δεδομένων, έχουν να κάνουν με ασφαλή συστήματα επικοινωνίας, γιατί και εδώ πέρα η χώρα βγαίνει μπροστά στην μετά τετραεποχή με έναν καινούριο διαγωνισμό. Όλα αυτά λοιπόν συνθέτουν την εικόνα μιας χώρας η οποία γνωρίζει πολύ καλά πώς το παιχνίδι παίζεται, κατανοεί απόλυτα την τεχνολογία, προσπαθεί να βρει ποιες είναι οι εξαρτήσεις που υπάρχουν και στο βαθμό που αυτό είναι εφικτό να δημιουργήσει τη δική της αυτονομία και αυτοτέλεια σε ευρωπαϊκό και ελληνικό επίπεδο, έχοντας πάντα κατά νου τα γενικότερα γεωπολιτικά γεγονότα τα οποία συμβαίνουν, καλώς ή κακώς θα έλεγα, στην ευρύτερη περιοχή. Κάθε επιτυχία στην ημερίδα και είμαι σίγουρος πως ο φίλος μου ο Θανάσης θα μου στείλει και τα πιο σημαντικά σημεία στα οποία θα καταλήξετε.
PNet was founded within the framework of the Competence Centers Act by the General Secretariat of Research and Innovation. And this gave us the initial private and public funding to kickstart. This gave us a great boost and helped us a lot. We are very thankful for that. So it is with great pleasure that I would like to welcome the General Secretary for Research and Innovation, Dr. Dimitris Terzis. Dr. Terzis.
Good morning. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, there are many things to discuss in an event about intelligent networks and digital twins, which with technologies like AI, 5G, extended reality, XR, and immersive digital environments or spatial computing like the metaverse, which represent a convergence of physical and digital worlds with applications in critical sectors of the economy, like smart cities, culture, tourism, industry, security, defense, and space. Let me start with a few words about the General Secretariat of Research and Innovation, GSRI, founded just over 40 years ago in 1985, and it's the public service responsible for planning and coordinating the implementation of the National Policy for Research, Technological Development and Innovation in Greece as part of the Ministry of Development. We overlook the top research and technology organizations of the country, and as part of our mission, 5 years ago, we launched an initiative that led to the establishment of 10 competence centers eventually, spanning 5 strategic domains aligned with our national smart specialization strategy. These were 3 centers in ICT, 3 in materials and construction, 1 in health and pharmaceuticals, 2 in agri-food, and 1 in energy. The total approved budget was around 17.8 million, of which roughly 10.5 million is public money, and the remaining 7.3 million came from the private sector. Collectively, these 10 competence centers represent a successful institution, and I'm therefore very pleased, and really pleased, to participate in an event organized by PNet, which accounts for over 12% of the original approved budget. At a broader scope, intelligent networks and digital twins, along with AI, 5G, XR, and spatial computing technologies like the metaverse, can be exploited as dual-use technologies, which is a term that is quite fashionable nowadays and for the past few years. So it is no surprise that defense is one of the keywords I read in the agenda associated with this event, with New Tech Forum 2026. So let me draw 2 characteristic examples, highly relevant to Greece from the wider space of DSR defense, security, and resilience. Example number 1, civil protection. AI software integrated with digital twins of landscapes and infrastructure, can predict wildfire spread and risks, and simulate fire spread with remarkable accuracy. By using data from satellite imagery, drone feeds, and ground sensors, such platforms enable firefighting, resource allocation, and optimized evacuation strategies. Private 5G networks provide real-time communication. XR interfaces offer immersive situational awareness. Metaverse environments facilitate large-scale training simulations, while satellite communications ensure resilience and continuity when terrestrial networks are compromised. Example number 2, defense. Naval operations are obviously very important for sea nations like Greece. AI software can be used to automatically convert digital designs of warships into fully operational digital twins, suitable for high-fidelity simulations. AI enhances scenario generation and outcome analysis, while XR delivers immersive crew training. Secure private 5G and next-generation networks link simulation centers with ships, whereas satellite communications and drones integrate multi-domain realism. So these are 2 real-world examples that have increasing applications in them, both in the field and in the market. 2 examples from civil protection and defense, and not theoretical. They represent actual business cases implemented by Greek companies and Greek talent, and with international market prospects. The commercial opportunity here is real, it is precise, and it is exportable. And it only reflects a small part of the potential that the technologies discussed in the New Tech Forum 2026 actually represent for Greek talent. So, ladies and gentlemen, the investment that the Greek state through GSRI has made in the 10 competence centers is an investment in transition from technology adoption to technology creation, not randomly, but focused in areas where our nation can innovate and excel as an international scale. These are not just formal words. I do personally, in my team, we do personally believe that we can create and export technology, and we have the talent to do so, and it is the opportunity to do so right now. Drawing from this fact, may I congratulate PNET and all the supporters of the New Technology Forum 2026 for their initiative, and wish all participants an interesting, productive, and fruitful day. Thank you all.
As we said, PNET is established in the region of Western Greece. And through our activity, we try to contribute to the transformation of the regions and the nation's digital landscape. Therefore, we are really honored to have with us today the Deputy Regional Governor for Entrepreneurship, Research and Innovation, Mr. Takis Papadopoulos. Mr. Papadopoulos, you are welcome.
Good morning, distinguished guests, partners, and citizens. It's a great honor to be here with you as we chart the course of the region of Western Greece towards a model digital region and a hub of technology, innovation, and creativity that has already been recognized since 2024 as a regional innovation valley in the challenge of digital transformation. Our vision is clear: to implement a holistic strategy that transforms our territory into a fair, smart, and effective European region, bridging the gap between their current potential and future excellence. While our region is currently categorized as a moderate innovator on the European stage, we have seen a steady increase in innovation performance over the last 5 years. To accelerate this momentum, we have committed to a robust digital transformation agenda through our Smart Specialization Strategy, RIS3, for 2021 to 2027. This policy focuses on high-impact sectors, including Industry 4.0, advanced 5G and 6G networks, artificial intelligence, and the Internet of Things. Central to our strategic approach is the integration of digital twins. Through initiatives like the MetaCities Excellence Hub, we are moving beyond mere digitization to create living digital replicas of our cities and infrastructure. These twins seamlessly unify the physical, digital, and human worlds, serving as a powerful sandbox for policy experimentation and better decision-making. By using real-time data, such as the traffic sensor network in Patras, we can simulate the effects of any decision or invest before it occurs, ensuring our actions are optimized for road safety, environmental impact, and economic efficiency. This data-driven approach to better decision-making is supported by the establishment of critical infrastructure, such as the Center of Municipality of Patras, which functions as a single dashboard for monitoring smart subsystems and providing supervisory management support. Our commitment is not just to the technology itself, but to its application for the benefit of our citizens and stakeholders. We recognize that innovation does not happen in isolation. Our strategy is built upon the quadruple helix model, forging deep synergies between academia, industry, public authorities, and civil society. By leveraging the expertise of our world-class universities and pioneering innovation clusters like PNET, we are creating the high-value knowledge and digital skills necessary for a resilient regional economy. In closing, the region of Western Greece is not merely adopting technology. We are committed to a sustainable future where innovation is in alignment with the region's strategic priorities and emerging challenges. We warmly thank you for the opportunity to be present today at the Tech Forum so we can have a fruitful exchange of ideas. Joining forces together, we are making the smart a tangible reality for all. Thank you.
Now it is my pleasure to welcome Mr. Leonidas Christopoulos, CEO of ECOMED, for his keynote address. Mr. Christopoulos, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everyone. Well, it is a great pleasure to be here today. Thank you very much for the invitation. Now, most of you would wonder what is a film authority doing in a, let's say, technological event. But first of all, ECOMED is not just a cultural organization, as many would think. It is mainly a policy organization coming to link technology, innovation, and the creative industries. So in that sense, both having the hat today as the CEO of ECOMED, of the Hellenic Film and Audiovisual Center, but also having been the Secretary General of Digital Governance from 2019 to 2023, and together with Mr. Stavris, who was Secretary General of Telecommunications, had the breakthrough, let's say, of the digital agenda of the country. I feel very familiar being here today with you and discussing about these issues, especially when it comes to the creative industry. So, the Hellenic Film and Audiovisual Center, ECOMED, is the national public body for film and audiovisual creativity in Greece. It has been established in May 2024 by law, and it started operations in September 2024 by merging the Greek Film Center and the National Audiovisual Center, ECOMED. ECOMED's mission is to establish a strong economic pillar for the creative industries by positioning Greece as an international hub for audiovisual production and innovation. It aims to enhance competitiveness, attract foreign investment, and strengthen the connection between culture, technology, and economic growth. Acting as the central national authority, it develops and implements policies, manages incentives, supports industry development across film, television, animation, and video games, and promotes Greece globally as a prime destination for international productions like the ones you saw very recently with Brad Pitt, with Emily in Paris, big productions that Christopher Nolan's Odyssey that do come in Greece. We may not represent a sector that is traditionally placed in the center of infrastructure discussions, yet today it is increasingly impossible to separate technology, creativity, and content. Audiovisual media, immersive technologies, XR, and digital environments are no longer just cultural outputs. They are becoming core components of how digital twins are designed, experienced, and monetized. Looking at today's agenda, we see a strong focus on infrastructure and industry, telecommunications and defense, as well as vertical applications across sectors. What ECOMED brings into this conversation is the cultural and experiential layer of digital twins, since they are also a narrative environment and a creative product as well. For Greece, the importance of digital twin is multidimensional. Firstly, in cultural heritage, Greece holds one of the richest cultural legacies in the world. Digital twins allow us not only to preserve monuments and sites, but to reconstruct, simulate, and reinterpret them in immersive ways. This creates new possibilities for education, research, and global access. And if you saw the minister's, Mrs. Mendoni's speech about the technological strategy of the Ministry of Culture, you would see that in cultural heritage, a lot of things are based on the digital twin technology for the future of the cultural heritage policy. In tourism, digital twins enable hybrid physical-digital experiences, as well as a more sustainable destination management. In the creative sector, our sector, digital twins are becoming a foundation for virtual production, video games, XR storytelling, and new forms of audiovisual content. This is an area where Greece has growing talent and strong potential for international collaboration. What makes digital twins particularly important is that they connect all these sectors. They create a common digital layer where infrastructure, data, and technology meet content, storytelling, and human experience. This is exactly where organizations like ECOMED can contribute, by ensuring that innovation is not only efficient, but also engaging and culturally grounded. The presence of international partners and leading technology actors here today is extremely encouraging for us. No country can develop this ecosystem alone. We need shared standards, interoperable platforms, and of course, cross-sector collaboration. Greece is ready to be part of this effort, not only as a user, but as a creator too. We look forward to contributing to this dialogue and to build meaningful collaborations in the future. So I thank you very much, and I wish you a productive and inspiring forum. Thank you.
And now I would like to welcome my colleague, the Business Development Director of PNET, Mr. Marios Nicolaou, to drive you through the next session, which is about new technology trends. And thank you very much. I wish you a very pleasant and engaging day.
Hello, everybody. I'm Marios Nicolaou, Business Development Director for PNET. I would also like to thank you for attending and coming here today, and especially our guests. Some of them came from far away, had to be for 20 hours in planes to be with us, and we appreciate it. And they didn't come just, to say hello. If they are here, it means they like what we're doing, they see value in the relationships that we're building, and also the technology that we're creating. As Mr. Christopoulos said, our country is very rich in culture and in creativity. We, as technologists that we are in PNET, we are full hardcore engineers. However, we gave the keynote speech today to Mr. Christopoulos and ECOMED to underline the importance of content and the value of digital and new creative industries for the country. So thank you very much for being our keynote speaker. The immediate next session will focus on the technology. We'll try to keep it light and explain through these presentations how this technology can enable all these new services for the sectors that we will discuss later in the day. I would like to welcome our dear friend Jeff Melanson from Unity to talk to us about scaling digital twins for industry and infrastructure, delivering measurable ROI and national competitiveness. Jeff, the floor is yours.
All right, we're a couple slides in here, so let's go backwards. There we go. Nice to see you all. PNET, thank you for the introduction. Our host facility, thank you very much. This is wonderful, and it's actually, I don't know if you're picking up on this, but we can hear the children out enjoying the space, and it's kind of important, I think, as we're having these conversations about the future to realize that those people outside are the future. So really nice to hear that. If someone could do me an honor of just give me a 2-minute warning, because I have about 6 days of slides here and I have 12 minutes to present them. And I'll also say I'm around for the whole day today, so if any of you have any particular area of focus, I have so many different sector-specific examples of digital twins that we can't possibly get to in 12 minutes, but if you want further information, happy to provide it. So, my name is Jeff Melanson. I'm with Unity Technologies, as you know. For those of you that are a fan of US foreign policy right now, Unity is a US-based company, though founded in Denmark originally, and I'm Canadian, so we can kind of cross off various different angles geopolitically if we have to as we progress today. As Marius mentioned, the conversations with PNET go back some time, as they do with Leonidas Christopoulos, who I was honored to meet with over a year ago. So we've been having some very meaningful conversations about what you all do here. And to Marius's point, I'm here because I can see intention and possibility in this country that really gets me excited. My remit's global, so I can go wherever I want and do whatever I want, and I'm very excited about what you're all about to do here, and it's an honor to be here with you today. So, as you all know, as some of you will know, game development is a very big sector. So if you add all other media sectors together, game revenues exceed that. So we're seeing this massive sort of upswing of game development. But why is a game development studio talking to you about digital twins? About 15 years ago, NASA and the US Department of Defense approached Unity to start the digital twin portfolio within those two organizations. And since then, as you'll see on this slide, we've done over 10,000 digital twin projects in the last 2 years. And what we're finding in the digital twin space is, because it is relatively new, sharing global best practice is really critical. So we again have different sectors activating digital twin projects all over the world, but we're not aggregating that very well in terms of sharing best practice, which is why forums like this are so important. And also everything you're doing in Greece, making sure it's tethered into other best practice examples is really critical. So I'm going to go right into it here. I know you all know what a digital twin is, so I won't spend a lot of time with it, but these are just some sort of visual representations of how we use it from a modality perspective. Part of why I called the title, or titled the talk about strategy and return on investment, is, as some of you will know, when you're dealing with C-suite executives or government officials, sometimes we get so fixated on the terminology that we kind of forget to focus on what we're trying to achieve with the technologies. So a lot of the work that we do is really educational, but also if you want to advance meaningful digital twin projects at scale, really focused on what you're trying to achieve through the digital twin and what the ROI is really critical. A sexy technology, who cares? There's lots of sexy technologies. It's really important that you're actually driving value in what you're doing. As you know, why are we portable? We work basically on any screen or any device. Most of what we do, we have to customize to the use case. So we have large-scale digital twins ranging from like airports, ports, cities, and so on, where tens of thousands of people have to interface with the digital twin. So it's really important that you're not assuming that everyone's going to be walking around in a headset, because at this point, that's not really very feasible or likely. So thinking about, what platforms are you using, and then from a sector perspective, this is just a small subset. Defense is a big growth area for us right now. As we mentioned, US DoD was one of our early clients, so we're basically growing into that space quite aggressively. So I'm sure none of this, I don't have to spend a lot of time on this for you today, but what is a digital twin? And you definitely will have understood that we've kind of moved from a game engine orientation into digital twinning, and that's connected to spatial AI. This is how we define digital twins, so it's not just a 3D representation of an asset process. And we've done digital twins as small as a human body and as big as Singapore. So basically, in terms of breadth and diversity of scale, it can be very large. Real-time and right-time data being ingested in the twin is critical. And then we have to be able to run optimization, automation, and simulations in those platforms for them to have real utility. This is a money slide. And again, all the slides I'm sharing with you today, don't worry about taking notes or copying any of them. I'm happy to share the full deck with you, so you'll have a copy of all of this, so don't stress about that. A lot of the work we do from a management consulting perspective is sort of helping people understand what level of complexity they actually need in a digital twin before they deploy it. Because not everyone's going to get here, although arguably sort of autonomous robotics and so on is coming. So building the foundations of the digital twin so it can scale is really, really critical. I apologize for going so fast, 12 minutes as I said. One other thing that we always point out to people, when you build out a digital twin at scale, it changes how people work in that system. So AI, digital twins, same idea. Don't underestimate how much change management is required in terms of rethinking process, flows, organizational structure. That's where digital twins die, is when the human interface is not really properly thought through. From a value creation perspective, so actually maybe I'll go back one slide here quickly. So I'm going to talk maybe about architecture, engineering, construction, but this basically would apply to any sector. So once you get these principles, it's pretty clear. Why is a digital twin useful? So when you're building anything from a design perspective, you can actually build the digital twin first before you move into construction. We're finding for infrastructure projects, generally speaking, there's a 10 to 20% project variance because we make mistakes when we design these things and then we roll them out. So with governments that are deploying billions of dollars, you're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of misspending or misallocation. So by having a digital twin in the design phase, you can actually catch the errors before you're in construction, which saves governments tremendous amounts of money. So we have use cases where we've saved a Canadian government, Ontario, $1.6 billion in their infrastructure spend just in sort of optimizing and catching errors in the design phase. We also work with large-scale manufacturing to use the design digital twin for training. I'm sure a lot of you have seen these use cases as well. But that's basically where you have a digital twin, you basically copy the asset and build training modalities within that digital twin. So an example would be in Arizona, where I met these gentlemen last year. TSMC, when they opened their new plant, Taiwan Semi-Manufacturing Company, we built the digital twin of the plant for operations and design, but also used the digital twin to train the 10,000 employees that were going to work in the twin while it was being built. So you basically are training, certifying people before the plant's in existence. From a building perspective, construction sequence, you basically run further efficiencies out of that. Most of you will know if you've run large-scale infrastructure projects, lots of variance here as well that we can eliminate. And then the assets themselves, this is a wind farm that we run with Microsoft, but sort of many examples from an operations maintenance perspective where the digital twin becomes your integrated operating system for any asset or complex system. How am I doing for time? Am I tracking okay? I don't know if anyone's tracking this, so it might be a 6-day presentation. Okay. Am I talking too fast? Is this working? We're doing okay? Okay. Okay, so I'm going to show you one. So that's all great. Talk, but let's get into an example. So here is the Vancouver Airport digital twin. We've now done this with 25 different airports around the world. And we started basically with their goals. So their goals were to reduce the operating expenses of the airport, better staff utilization, better environmental performance, and better planning. That's basically what we were aiming for. So you start with that. Again, don't start with a headset, don't start with the technology, start with the big vision and the strategy. We whiteboard out the solutions, and then I'll show you some of what we were able to do with them. So these are just a couple of the use cases. So the top left is the exterior rendering of the airport. So we would use that for airport expansion, for planning, some commercial leasing, and so on. This one, which is the ugliest by far, is the most useful. So this runs on every staff member's phone that works at the airport. So we have basically every day about 3,000 staff members using this site. So we did 2D, not 3D, because it's not practical or necessary to have a three-dimensional rendering. So in this case, we're tracking planes from 1,000 kilometers out. So every plane coming into the airport is tracked. All of the on-site vehicles are tracked. There's 500 different sort of data sources here. And it's integrated with SAP, so all of the staff deployment is running through this as well. We're able to take their net zero target from 2050 to 2030 with this tool, so way better environmental and emissions performance. way better staff utilization, and so on. So that's basically what's happening here. What you're seeing on the bottom is like a time scrubber, so it's basically projecting future bottlenecks and issues and so on as well. So hopefully your airport experience as you travel, and mine, because I travel a lot, will be a lot more efficient with these models. Bottom left is kind of a cool one. So there, and we're using this in smart cities as well, we ingest CCTV feeds and then basically apply a machine learning layer to actually track for any strange criminal behavior before it becomes problematic. So as you might know, on Earth, we have cameras everywhere, and the camera is usually only useful after Marius has mugged me, and identifying that it was Marius that mugged me, which is great, but I would prefer Marius didn't mug me. So this is basically a preventative security tool that allows us to then identify problem issues in cities and airports and ports before they become problematic. In addition to that, I think we heard about fire simulations, earthquakes, and so on. We're basically running every type of flood fire simulation, as well as all sorts of airport interface components beyond this. So I just showed you sort of 3 or 4 use cases here, but there are way more than that in terms of how we've rolled this out. And this has become kind of the standard operating system for airports around the world. Good idea for airports everywhere. Some of you will ask, how does the customer or traveler interface with that? So Next Generation is really building the personal metaverse interface with the airport as well, where we'll sell you all sorts of things you don't need while you're stranded at the airport. So apologize for that as well. And then I'll just close with this example because I know I'm probably getting close here. So on a smart city perspective, same kind of idea. So we kind of identify who are the key stakeholders in a smart city. This was the framework we used for Singapore's digital twin. We've done this in many other cities around the world as well. So again, it's not like, wouldn't a digital twin be cool? It's more, what are the key sort of stakeholders that are currently fragmented or not connected within a city ecosystem? I'll skip these. What are the use cases and priorities? You kind of go through that from a strategic perspective, and then basically build various different use cases attached to those things. So everything from disaster preparedness, wastewater management, energy grid optimization, emergency response. There's a big utility for economic development. So a lot of cities are using this to actually plan out the future of their cities, identify key areas and needs. Lots of workforce applications, public engagement is a good use case as well, and so on. So many, many use cases within a city. What we're finding as well, this would probably apply to your MetaCities initiative, is a lot of these use cases and apps can be dragged from city to city as well. So think of like a digital twin app store in terms of use cases going forward. That's going to be the future in terms of how these things are rolled out internationally. Again, I'll send you this if you want a copy of it, but there's a really good video on the Singapore digital twin, which is the most sophisticated digital twin on Earth, and some other use cases in terms of how we've done this from a city perspective. And I'll close you from this from an ROI perspective. This is our standard city feature set. So when we're working with cities, we go in and say, okay, which are most useful or relevant to you? You don't need to see that. Lots of analysis on ROI. So for governments making investments or industry making investment, really critical that people are actually seeing the returns attached to these technologies. And we're not just doing cool technology for its own sake, that there's actually a practical utility. And then this is a bit of a more future-oriented look, but tons and tons of unlocked revenue potential with these models as well. So basically, if I leave you with anything, start with strategy, don't start with technology. Focus on sort of cost optimization, CapEx optimization in terms of savings, and then the future revenues and potential is pretty exciting, and we'll certainly monetize those kids that are out in the lobby making all the wonderful noises that we're hearing today. I know because I'm out of time, we can't go further, but there's lots and lots of examples as I go further down on job creation, use cases galore. So if you want basically further access to any of the information I've shared with you today, happy to provide it. And I think I'm probably landing the plane on time. Would that be fair? Thank you very much. Delightful to be with you.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Just a little anecdote. Last year when Jeff invited me to be a speaker in Arizona, even though I think I am quite a high-tech person, but a robot taxi, Waymo, came to pick me up. It was not an experiment. It was a fully commercial robot taxi service running in the country. It was a very surreal experience sitting there with a steering wheel that was turning by itself. But the funniest and most surreal experience of my life was when the ride ended and I got out of the car and I didn't know what to say to the car. And I said, good night, sir. So we are about to experience a lot of cultural changes in our lives. It's not a joke, it's coming. I'm not looking forward to the little delivery robots that will be zipping around our cities soon, but that is coming already. And this is a very good segue for our next topic, which is very relevant. We have a speaker from one of the most advanced centers in Greece to talk to us about AI and robotics. And this is why I should always remember to take my glasses with me. It's Dr. I need my glasses. Apologies. So, Dr. Dimitrios Giacomis, Professor.
So, good morning. Also from my side. I'm Dimitrios Giacomis. I'm a researcher at CERT, head of the robotics lab of the Information Technologies Institute. So, a big challenge for robotics overall, not only for taxis, but for overall for robotics is to enable robots to perform complex tasks in demanding, unpredictable, enhanced environments. This can be, let's say, an overall rounding of challenges that we have in front of us. And in our lab, we are developing AI-powered robotic systems that try to push the boundaries of autonomy and adaptability in the diverse application domains. In several application areas, from logistics and retail to construction, agriculture, and also airports, that was mentioned before, with key research areas being in the dimensions of robot perception, robot navigation, and human-robot interaction. Those are the main three research dimensions that we have in our group. And in this line, I will show you some brief examples of some research projects which are currently at the state of art for European research. For instance, this project has to do with physical intelligence. It is among the core digital emerging technologies that Europe is funding at the moment. Physical intelligence in terms of the manipulation of lots of diverse objects with different characteristics without the robot to have exact prior knowledge of the objects that it will be handling. Typical examples for applying such robotic systems can be considered in airports, in baggage handling operations, and in objects like ones of supermarkets, let's say in terms of restocking. Of course, several different technologies need to be developed to this end, from advanced robot perception to human-aware navigation when we have mobile robots in human-populated spaces, to manipulation primitives, and also in terms of robot cognition. All these technologies are being developed here in Manibot project, which I'm currently coordinating. And here you can see some early examples of how baggage handling operations are performed. We have a bimanual manipulator robot. We have on-the-fly detection of the baggages, the grasping points, their handles, and the robot decides what exactly to grasp, how, and pushes it to the cart. Of course, here we have a simulated cart. Right now we are around in the middle of the project, and we're working to make this in a realistic airport environment, and on the other hand, in realistic supermarket environments for the self-restocking operations. Other areas that we focus on is construction, robots from construction. In this project, again coordinated from our lab, we are developing robots for shotcreting. Shotcreting is the spraying of cement in diverse application scenarios. In essence, in this project, in Robert Armé, we're developing two robots. The first robot enters a room and develops a 3D reconstruction of this environment through a scan-to-beam approach. And then a second robot comes and as the system understands how the area is now and compares it to how it needs to be done in the end, the second robot comes in and performs the actual shotcreting. For instance, you can see how our robots have operated in some fantastic areas in the Alps. On the left side, as you watch, you can see the IRR robot, which is the reconstruction robot. As it moves around, then builds the digital twin of the environment. Also, we have used Unity in terms of AR applications for the operators of this robot. And then the second robot, that is on the right side, comes and performs the actual shotcreting in a very, very harsh environment with too much noise for the sensor, for the camera sensors, for the particles, etc. Very difficult scenarios, but we have managed to have real robots operating in such cases. A third indicative example of service robots that we are developing has to do with agriculture. In the Bacchus project, which has been technically coordinated also from our side, we developed robots to monitor and harvest grapes. Grapes is an example because we wanted to do something with very delicate handling. The grapes need delicate handling, and this is what we wanted to do. Also by manual handling. And you can see in the next slide how we were approaching this issue. We had again two robots navigating inside in the vineyard. The first robot was doing the understanding, the scene reconstruction again of the vineyard, again developing a digital twin of the vineyard by detecting the grapes and also assessing the ripeness. So by knowing how many grapes are in which positions and how ripe they are, then the system could elaborate on a selective harvesting plan in order to collect the best grapes that were necessary. So after this process, the second robot that you see up here was coming, and by manual mobile platform was coming in the vineyard, and it was performing by manual manipulation in order to harvest the grapes. Here you can see it in more detail, and actually this was one project that was noted by the Commission as a highlight, a good project. It developed robots that indeed they operated in such harsh environments in vineyards, collecting many grapes one after the other throughout the trees, and it was presented as a success story at that time. Here you can see, and also may I note that here we have very, very difficult challenges to solve in terms of robot perception. We have to detect grapes in conditions which have direct sunlight, also occlusions, also sometimes there is not direct sunlight, and we need to have a 3D reconstruction on the fly and understanding of where exactly not only the grape is, but also the stem, because we need to cut the stem. So lots of challenges, lots of difficult problems. We were developing the perception methods at CERT. Of course, further modules were developed by other partners, such as the manipulation was done by Aristotle University, and we had also robot provider companies in the consortium. However, in these very, very challenging areas of perception and robot navigation, we managed to develop quite good outcomes and an overall good project. Now, further to the core research that we are doing at CERT, we are developing also our own robots. So, starting by 2020, we moved on into developing our own robots in order to put there our own software. This is one example, and I will show you a second example right after this one. This first example is a UGV, is an unmanned ground vehicle for harsh terrains. And to tell the truth, we started this mainly focusing in agriculture, but then there was this great need for dual-use applications. So we shifted this a lot to dual-use applications, as was also mentioned before, as the examples of AI that start from civil research for civil applications and move on according to these needs. So this robot is capable of autonomous navigation and mapping. It performs AI-driven traversability analysis in order to understand on its own where exactly and how it can navigate in harsh and diverse and dynamic terrains. It performs robot vision and inspection, remote teleoperation through multiple modalities in order to have complementarity and so, for instance, we have both RF and Starlink on top of it, etc. And also supports further cases such as GNSS denied navigation and user following. Here you can see how it has operated in diverse domains and also in military environments, in exercises of the Greek army, which, where our presence was notably facilitated by the Hellenic Center for Defense and Innovation, ELCAC, in Greece, which has made a great job in putting companies together with the army in order to help companies understand better the needs of such military settings and applications. Here, for example, you can see several cases that we have participated in exercises, mainly in logistics applications. So we had our UGV transferring on its own supplies to remote forces of the army during the exercises. And I will close my presentation with a further example of research, core robotics research, that has been moved now also to a product like robot for airports. Here you can see a robot that you will meet the next time you will travel to Thessaloniki in Terminal 1 for now. We plan to also expand to the second terminal next and also to other airports. This robot provides information to travelers, but also as it navigates inside the airport environment, it performs inspection operations. In here you can see how it performs the mapping, how it navigates autonomously, in essence, it can be used as a further sensor, as was shown before by the Unity presentation, to provide data to the digital twin. It detects the lights, whether they are functioning, it detects whether the screens are functioning, if also security issues such as bugs which have been left unattended, and several other aspects related to the infrastructure management of the overall airport. Indicatively, you can see here how we perform the detections and how all these are then reflected to the map of the airport. And with this, I conclude, and thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you very much. So, in order to place all these moving objects in space and in the open space, but as well as to place content in space, you need standardization, you need new technologies that can correlate the digital space with the physical space. And we are delighted today to have with us Mr. Ali Hantal, who is, has a senior position in Metaverse Standards Forum, and he's also the CEO of XR Masters. I would encourage you to pay attention to this presentation because it will showcase the technology of how we can take all these little separate museum exhibitions that we have right now and then standardize it so we can have more wide offerings across the country. Ali, I welcome you to the stage.
Hello, everyone, and thank you, Peanut, for this opportunity. I'm so glad to be here. My name is Ali Hantal. I am the founder of XR Masters. We create my Geoverse platform. That's the spatial AI and content management platform running on Unity. And I feel like the world is currently, especially XR world, is very fragmented, and that's why I've been spending time with working on standardization efforts since 2018. And I am the co-president of OpenAI Cloud. I am also the adoption officer at Geopost Standards Working Group at Open Geospatial Consortium, and one of the leaders at Metaverse Standards Forum for the Forum Labs initiative. And when we come to spatial, today I'll be more talking about the geospatial content and AI that the users are facing more than the enterprise level, and how creators can be more active and how we can train them, because that's what's missing. Actually, we have everything in place, but we do not have enough of creators understanding this world of how they can create for geospatial content and AI. And this is it, right? Yes. First, I would like to start with talking about spatial AI, and then some standardization efforts that's going on in the world right now. And spatial AI is the AI that knows about its position in the real world, its geometry, its contexts, and its awareness, all happening simultaneously. And when the generative AI's creative and analytical power combined with spatial intelligence, real-world understanding, and situational awareness, we get something genuinely new, a computer system, a paradigm, which is intelligent, contextual, and spatial, to the point where it's 10 centimeters accuracy. And what can be done with that is so many amazing things on tourism, on actually shopping, and lots of other areas. But for instance, think about you getting to Acropolis and having AI who understands geospatially where it is exactly in providing information, or going to an airport and walking outside of the security, and you have an AI glass, and instantly it shows you the way to your gate, then your flight status floats right in front of you and shows you how long you have to your gate and your departure time, your boarding time, and that actually will give you, your AI assistant now gives you a recommendation because it knows about what you like, your preferences, and offers you a 15-minute massage. Actually, that also brings revenue. We can think about it as the spatial Google AdWords to the venue, the airport, by utilizing this. And all of this we actually support in our MyGeoverse platform right now. We have been working on this, but it's happening right now. And why we do not know much about this is not because the technology wasn't there, because technology was proven long years ago. We were like having that 10 centimeter accuracy using visual positioning systems and anchors long time ago. However, we had a problem with the hardware. AR with mobile was very not ergonomic. It had battery drain problems, and it was very difficult to discover content when the phone is in your pocket. But then we did the XR. XR came especially with the video pass-through glasses, such as Apple Vision Pro or Meta Quest. They were bulky. They were socially awkward to wear on a day-to-day life. But now, why we're very excited is we have AI-first glasses. And AI-first glass is not easy to understand. You can wear it on a day-to-day basis. This is an AI-first glass. This is a Meta Ray-Ban, and you can see this has been out for a while. Now they have Meta Oakley's happening. It's really, you can buy one. There's another one is Meta Ray-Ban AI display glass, which has a heads-up display. It's not geospatially displaying everything, but you can see your screen. Now, Meta is leading this with their partnership But Android XR is fast coming, and they announced Android XR. Now there are tens of, over 50 headsets coming, and with that, Android XR is bringing, especially with its partners, fashion partners such as Warby Parker and Gentle Monster and Kering Eyewear, now some AI glasses such as this one is coming in this year. And Android is doing the same playbook they did with mobile. And what that was they got 70% of the market by just giving their operating system as open to manufacturers. And then we saw these Oppos, Samsungs, and all of that other manufacturers coming. So this is all great and started the new era. 7 million Meta Ray-Ban glasses were sold last year alone. And now with the Android XR, this is really coming. We can see that AI is slowly moving from back-end to frontline human interaction. And it looks like the mass market price point is being unlocked, especially when Android XR will be out with those manufacturers from Asia come into the picture. Okay, then how about interoperability? Let's talk about a little bit of interoperability. Unfortunately, today's XR ecosystem is very fragmented, and this is not the best news for us, because when this happened in mobile, we are very familiar with the mobile. There are two powers, and we're locked into them. And developers pay the toll, especially the customers as well, because now everything has to be done with twice as much of work. But we didn't feel it as much because internet was still in our lives. Internet being the most interoperable thing other than money, I believe, is the internet. We have URL and standards and protocols so that it's device agnostic, it's operating system agnostic, it's browser agnostic. But when we come to this 3D internet, and if we do not care about standards and interoperability, that will really provide a problem. Because now what will happen, now what will happen is with not only developers, but think about creators in the world placing their art in the streets, on the real world, thousands of assets that they did. And if they're locked into one ecosystem, that means they cannot change the ecosystem. They're there, which is not going to be a great time for the future. How am I doing with time? Okay, perfect. So Metaverse Standards Forum actually was founded because of that, and it is now it's coordinating 20 plus organizations, two of which I am involved with, Open Geospatial and AR Cloud. And Metaverse Standards Forum has some great initiatives, one of them being the Forum Labs, MSF Forum Labs. And that Forum Labs is there for testing all these standards. And I would like to thank PNET for becoming the first principal Forum Lab partner for the Metaverse Standards Forum. And another project that we're working on is the Open Metaverse Browser Initiative. And that's targeting to be the browser appless solution to the spatial browser problem. And this is a very important step to take us to a device agnostic solution. We also work with GeoPose. I am, as I told you, working very closely with the GeoPose Standards Working Group. And our platform is the first commercial implementer of these standards of GeoPose and point of interest and the OSCP, Open Spatial Computing Platform protocol. We also have Open Visual Positioning service. That's a very important one, which will bring, again, the world, the VPS, which requires the devices, what devices are required to know where they are, localization, we call it. And Spatial DDS is now the newest initiative that we're going on with. I would like to show you a GeoPose and point of interest video. And yeah, here it is.
And that's exactly what we demonstrated yesterday at the Google campus in Mountain View during the W3C Immersive Web face-to-face event. We had one publisher platform, the MyGeoverse platform created by XR Masters, and two mobile clients. The first client was the MyGeoverse native mobile app, which was used to author the content, a 3D OGC logo, and a point of interest. It immediately went through the full OSCP sequence after authoring and localized again using Augmented Cities VPS, and then discovered both the logo and the POI, which were published in compliance with spatial content record standards. The second client was the Sparkle WebXR client developed by OpenAI Cloud. It also followed the same sequence, localized using Augmented City VPS, which is compliant with OG standards as well, and successfully discovered the same logo and the point of interest.
This was a historical demo that we've done last year on Google campuses, showing the world that we can actually have application agnostic, a device agnostic solution. And MyGeoverse is positioned right in between the app level and the hardware and the visual positioning system level. And what we love to do is we love to work with universities and educational institutions and partners, testbed partners. And actually the first video you see on the left is from 5G Techritury in 2024. And we have Neil here, Neil's here from Techritury. We worked with them, and PNet was with us. We actually, they're working on this solution where a Ukrainian artist exhibits there, as you can see. But I would like to show this again, and the part goes fast, but Riga Technical University did all that exhibition right here that you're seeing. So our platform gives the ability to any creator to upload experiences and then publish them persistently and shared way on the real world. And we are looking for testbeds in Greece as well. You can become an OpenAI Cloud testbed, and then your way to becoming a forum lab like PNet that is open if you start working for these testing and research facilities. Activities. And this is another one that we did in US Virgin Islands in St. Thomas, showing the way. It's an AI agent showing the way to the user to find a certain destination. And my time is almost done. I have 30 seconds, and I would like to show you a video from yesterday, actually. And you will see that this conversational AI, which is location aware, is going to provide you information about the Poseidon Temple of Poseidon.
Provide information about Temple of Poseidon.
The Temple of Poseidon is an ancient Greek temple located at Cape Sunion, overlooking the Aegean Sea. It was built in the 5th century BC and is dedicated to Poseidon, the god of the sea. The temple is famous for its stunning views and historical significance, making it a popular tourist destination. Would you like to see places to visit nearby?
Yes. List 5 other places to visit, please.
Here are 5 places near you. Archaeological site of Sunion, Temple of Poseidon. To Aghalma Turafti, Temple of Athena Sunias. Archaeological site of silver mines at Drymos of Lavriotike.
Can you show me the weather? What's the weather like?
Sure, I'll check the weather. It is currently 19 degrees in Lavrio with overcast clouds. Cloudy, but not bad. Feel free to head out.
So, as you can see, the AI is doing what ChatGPT or Claude does, but in real time, and it knows exactly where it is. Actually, it doesn't know exactly where it is because it was GPS based. I didn't have enough time to scan the temple. But if I were to do that, then it would know exactly where it is with 10 centimeter accuracy, and think about how our lives are going to change. Not only Waymo, like what Mario experienced, it will be really out there. We'll have just this AI. We don't even need visible visuals anymore. It will be AI talking to us and giving information to us. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you very much, Ali. I believe this is very exciting what Ali showed us. Of course, the avatar can be better. We've been working for about a year on this together, sharing ideas. This is a use case that could be very applicable for Greece. If you saw the avatar and the AI was a little slow in responding, that's where we come in, and we have presentations to show you how in the future we can make this instantaneous interaction. And then imagine the possibilities for the country, for tourists, for selling skins, for selling avatars, content. I believe we need to pay attention at a national level to these services that are shown now by Ali. Moving to a also very interesting topic of intellectual property. In Greece, we are now generating all these research centers, a lot of new intellectual property, and we invited one of the best companies in the United States called Adia, and we have a distinguished speaker with us, Dr. Dhananjay Lal from Adia, to talk to us about the role of intellectual property in R&D from a technologist lens. DJ, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Marius. Pleasure to be here today. I never miss an opportunity to come to Greece. And when my friend Marius invited me, I was obviously in. Also, he wouldn't let me speak about intelligent networks or digital twins. So here I am speaking about intellectual property. But it is one of my favorite subjects given what I do. All right, I'm DJ. Please call me DJ, not Dhananjay, unless you prefer to. I'll be around if you have any questions. A brief overview about Adia, what we do. Adia is, we are based in San Jose, California. We invent, develop, and license innovations that shape how the world consumes entertainment. What does that mean? We are an R&D only company. We used to be a product and R&D company. We spun off the product division separately, and we became an R&D only company. At the moment, we own over 13,000 patents. Our revenue, we are about 150 people total, so we operate in startup scale, tiny but mighty. We make about $400 million plus revenue a year. Who are our customers? These 120 plus customers. Pretty much a lot of folks in the media and semiconductor domain. Some of the biggest tech players that rule the world, that rule your timeshare. Some of the gaming companies, OTT streaming providers, smart TV providers, a lot of the memory chips, in fact, also CPU makers, right? So we move through the media and semiconductor domain. We see our themes as explore, which is more about discovering content, experience, which is more about presenting that content, and enhance, which is more about scaling at the electronics level, so more semiconductor-based work there. Probably the most visual slide I've got. I saw some of the other slide decks. They were beautiful. I'm giving you guys a lecture, so bear with me, please. So this, to me, is a very important slide. Many of you have already seen it. It's the traditional S-curve. You may have seen it in different ways. You look at the metaverse, you look at AI, LLMs, what have you. You see every technology go through this. There's that initial going through the roof, lots of hype, everybody loves it. Then all of a sudden, there's a trough of disillusionment, like, what's happening, where's the monetization, there's no value here. Then followed by that, people who are actually serious about that technology get together, start moving into that product market fit, and then you actually start discovering that value where the technology focus shifts to the market focus. Once that product market fit is found, then the technology starts becoming mature. When it gets mature, then you start thinking about things like, how do I scale it? How do I make it more cost efficient? How do I make more money out of it? How do I monetize this for longer? And so this carries on, and then after a while, X number of years, depending on the technology, these S-curves used to last 20, 30 years. Today, these S-curves last, I don't know, a year or two, right? So the new technology comes in and replaces the old. And so the cycle goes on. The point of this slide is, when you're doing R&D, understanding where you're doing R&D in this S-curve is really, really important. So when you think about intellectual property, for example, if you're in the technology focus side of this, you're making big bets. The direction that you choose may just be entirely irrelevant down the road. When you're in the product market fit, the technology has more maturity, you have the known unknowns. At that point, you're taking less risks. However, I'd say even in the rightmost side of this, R&D is possible. It's just very incremental in nature, and it's very sort of process or other things that help control cost focused. So R&D is possible in all of these domains. Keep me honest on time, guys. Somebody give me the 2-minute warning. So here's lecture time. There'll be a pop quiz at the end of this. So please listen. It'll be worth your while. All right. Intellectual property. Why is it important? Because it is property. Just like property, you own it, you sell it, you lease it, you mortgage it, you pay taxes on it, you maintain it, right? You use it because it's valuable. You can raise capital from it. You can block your competitors from actually doing the same thing. You can ward off litigation. You can license or sell it. So I think understanding that basic background, just things you create out of your mind, whether or not you practice them, they're your property. And that's the law. Different types of IP, trademarks, Apple logo, Coca-Cola, that's one type of intellectual property. Copyright, more artistic works, songs, drama, all of that is a different type of intellectual property. You do actually file for some of these things, like USPTO is Patent and Trademarks Office. Then there's a third type of intellectual property which you don't even file for. That's your trade secret. You just decide, here are the things that give my business an advantage, and you keep them carefully. And when an employee of yours goes to another company and that technology starts showing up there, then you decide whether you want to call this a misappropriation of that technology or not, right? So that is another type of intellectual property which is never filed with any office. So it is incumbent on you to keep your trade secret secret, just like the Coca-Cola formula, right? Now, coming to the most important type, patents. 3 types: utility, design, and plant. I will not even talk about plant because they're literally about plants. I will talk about utility. Utility protects feature and function. Design protects aesthetics. What is a patent? It has to be new. So it's a federally granted right to any system or method. It has to be new. So there's got to be novelty in it. It has to be non-obvious. And it has to be useful. It has to be applied for. Most importantly, it is the right to exclude others from making, using, selling, offering for sale, or importing the claimed invention. It is limited term. It is territorial. My presentation is a little bit more US patent based, but a lot of the same principles apply to the European Union as well. It is not a right to practice. Why is it not a right to practice? Just move to the last point. It is a quid pro quo. And what I mean by that is an inventor fully discloses the invention so that the public can benefit from it and expand on it. Therefore, it is not a right of not a right to practice, because you can have a patent which it still requires license from another to fully practice that invention. A patent is like a term paper, I like to say. Some of you have seen those patents, field of invention, background of invention. Any lawyers in the room, by the way? All right. Prosecution, very important. We technologists, we work on the technology. We stop thinking about it when it comes to the legal domain. We probably should not, and that's what I want, is one of my important messages today. Prosecution is essentially that process where you go through the drafting, filing, and negotiation with the patent office to obtain a patent. And a well-designed patent, it is your property. It is a collaboration between attorneys and technologists. The worst thing you can do is hand off after you're done as a technologist to an attorney and then never worry about it or not think about it or not read what comes back. This is the most important part of the patent. As a technologist, make sure you write your specification in as great detail as possible. But from a lawyering perspective, from a legal perspective, the most important part of that patent are the patent claims. Here is a hypothetical patent. You know, you've got a chair. It comprises a seat, a back support attached to the seat, support arms attached to the seat and back support, and a base comprising a plurality of legs attached to the seat, right? So, lawyer language, but essentially we all understand what a chair is. That is exactly how novelty is expressed. So it consists of this preamble, which is a chair, a transition or a linking phrase, which is comprising, and then elements and limitations. Elements and limitations are what help massage that patent into why there is novelty. So if you read this, pop quiz, if somebody came up with a chair which did not have a plurality of legs, but had a single leg, would that chair infringe on this patent? Anybody? You got it right. That actually would not. So because there is a limitation in this, that there's a plurality of legs, that would not infringe on this patent. Right? So understanding this concept, how that novelty is defined, how that exclusionary right is defined, I think technologists can do better at understanding that and working with attorneys. So these are some of the, you know, there's a way longer list than this, but these are some of the basic things, at least in the, and the European Union has similar concepts. 101, 102, 103 objections, we call them, why a patent examiner comes in and says, I'm not going to give you this patent, right? Whatever your patent application is asking for. So 101 is basically subject matter eligibility. You know, if you came up with a new formula, you may have come up with a new formula, but if it's based on a law of nature, that's not patentable. If you use that same formula, then to create something that is a useful process, machine, manufacture, or composition of matter, that's different. Then that formula has been deployed to create something useful, and therefore it is subject matter eligible. Abstract ideas, natural phenomena don't fall within that. The second 102 objection is really about, you know, you're literally reading on something else. You know, you read a research paper and you try to write a patent or something on it. So the examiner finds a single piece of art, and they call it anticipation, and he says, well, how can I give you this patent, right? I mean, this just reads directly on the art. You basically just written up something that already exists in the art. It may not be a patent, so it may not have claims, but it essentially reads on the art. And the third thing is obviousness. This gets complicated. Obviousness is really the idea that if entity X has A as patent, entity Y has B as patent, you can come in and say, I put A and B together and I created C, unless there was a specific insight or creativity involved in creating C out of A and B, because only then would you be able to justify why this is non-obvious. Finally, just some thoughts. The important slide in my lecture, this is the money slide, you might say. How can we as technologists contribute to IP asset development? We must develop clarity on our own novelty. We love to write architectures, write code, this and that. But developing clarity on our novelty is probably the thing that we can do most. We must write those detailed descriptions of the inventions. Why? Because patents can be easily designed around. So when you actually write a patent, you write it in a rich embodiment manner, which is to say that the optionality in getting to the same end result, is fully laid out in the patent. And why all of this? Because specification cannot be changed, but claims can be. And claims actually often with the prosecution attorney and the patent office, there is an iteration that happens on the claims, but the specification is locked. So that's why as a technologist, you must write a very, very rich specification with embodiments. You must have that clarity on your novelty, because in the end, and this is where I think most of us fall short, is having that discussion with that drafting attorney to see whether what you had in mind is what they captured as the novelty. Because sometimes they can go completely wrong. They may not be 100% familiar with the space to understand, where the novelty of your invention lies. And so, final thoughts. Many of you will find this pretty repetitive in the way you work. There's the inventor mindset. Many of you may already have that. We live with problems, right? I ignore my kids when I'm living with these problems. So my wife takes care of my kids when I'm living with these problems, but I'm in my own absent-minded professor world, right? We seek novelty, even when something is a pretty straightforward exercise. We are able and willing every once in a while to reject everything we say and say, oh, I'll work this out from first principles. It may literally be a 1% chance that we actually run into that situation where we'll actually come up with something, but that's the way we think. When you think about all of that in the context of patents, you do need that stellar drafting and prosecution team. And what I have noticed is when you work with the same guys over and over again, you kind of start developing an understanding, and that actually really improves the quality. And with that, my last words are protect your IP. Thank you.